Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Okay, hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. This is super crazy and exciting for me right now because I have not gone live on my own channel ever. So, this is a first. Um, I know that this is going to show up later, so I'm really kind of relieved about that. I can see I'm not talking to 200 people or 10,000 people, so that's a huge relief. The only thing is, I'd recorded a few videos this past week because what I wanted to do was record a whole bunch of content and sort of compile all of my thoughts and theories and predictions and what have you. And then be able to post everything all in one shot on YouTube later on. But what I found doing that was that I just began to feel really awkward talking to myself, hearing myself, not having a very organic flow of words or energy. It just felt really forced and it made me feel really uncomfortable. And for those of you that are subscribed to my channel, I am going to assume you've heard of me from Channel 27, Heidi Vandenberg, my friend and expert Vedic astrologer and life coach. And also, you may know me from some appearances I've made on the Leak Project with Rex Bear. So that's why I think many of you are here and know me at all. And I just wanted to thank all of you because I think I have over 1,000 subscribers now. I want to thank each and every one of you for subscribing to my channel, whereas I've had absolutely zero content up till now. So I really appreciate your interest and your support because it really gives me this awesome sort of boost of confidence to know that my first video will at least reach that many people. So thank you all for that. And again, live streams are what I'm more comfortable with because I do these lives with Heidi Vandenberg on Channel 27 quite a bit. We do our weekly show over there. So you can check us out. We do tarot readings, astrology readings. So that's a huge realm of interest for me. I love the tarot. I love Vedic astrology. I am not an astrologer. I'm just learning it now. She is the expert, and there are also many other people that are experts in Vedic astrology. I just kind of want to get a handle on this now because I don't have any moderators currently, and that's fine by me. I hope to learn this as I go, but I just want to be able to let you guys know that I can see your comments. Hi, everybody. Hi. Oh, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is so crazy. Hi. Hi, Anton. Hi, Z Golden Report. Hi, Raven Wolf. Oh, you guys are great. Thank you guys so much. Familiar faces. I love this. This is just what I need. So, okay. So like I said, I recorded all of these videos and I was uncomfortable and unhappy with all of them because they felt really forced. And what I'm used to is sort of the, rapid fire live stream flow of information. It just feels more organic to me. But what I struggled with was finding a topic to start with because there's so many fields of study that I'm interested in, so many topics that Heidi and I have tried to cover throughout our various shows together. And so for me to pinpoint one thing was very difficult. And so I really just allowed myself to be open to some kind of divine inspiration today. And so that's what I did. And, having trust in synchronicities, which I do, really allowed for some amazing information to come through the interwebs to me my way today. So with that being said, I want to jump right on into what I want to talk about today. Hi. Oh gosh, you guys are so great. So, okay. There is, as many of you know, tarot is one of my absolute favorite things, but on the sort of the flip side of that, I am very, very interested in reporting and in investigative journalism. And my vision is to somehow, some way, be able to fuse the occult mysticism and tarot and these more esoteric studies to fuse those things with the realm of communications and journalism and media. And as it stands right now, the media is just in shambles. Legacy media is on its way out. We know that. Sorry, CNN. Sorry, Fox News, and all of the like. YouTube included. Sorry, YouTube. I'll probably get in trouble. I probably won't be here for very long. In all honesty, I think Steemit has a really great thing going on over there. And so, time will tell with that. But what I am really passionate about right now is finding the link between the resurgence of some of these ancient studies and media now, because the way that people consume information and the rapid rise in consciousness taking place right now, that lends itself to a whole new way of receiving information, of distributing information, and really absorbing information. For the most part, legacy media, CNN and Fox News and MSNBC and, New York Times and Washington Post, all of these outlets are underestimating the people, and they are promoting their agenda in a way that overshadows what's really going on, in the sense that we think that people are buying this. You turn on CNN and you think to yourself, wow, like they really have everybody fooled. But in my experience and talking to people, because I talk to a lot of people, they don't actually have as many people fooled as they want you to think that they do. It's really psychology here. It's basic psychology playing out on a grand spectrum in a grand field here, where I really think that we underestimate our fellow man in what they're able to absorb. I think that people are really starting to get it. I am a millennial, and my generation gets a bad reputation, and that's fine. That's okay. But I actually have faith. Faith isn't the best word to use, but I really do believe, and I have confidence in myself and the people that I associate with, that we are going to do everything in our power to help facilitate the exposure of secrets and the way that people receive and communicate information with one another. And being so passionate about tarot and occult mysticism, I am desperately searching for the link that will fuse occult mysticism, which gets a bad reputation in and of itself, and media and communications, fuse those things together and be able to reach people at the level of consciousness. As it stands right now, and the way that things have been, is that this is more of a connection made on a very base level, a very mental level. So, growing up, watching the news, it catches your attention, and they have us sort of locked into a very specific wavelength, of which they have, been very successful with manipulating us into that frequency, or keeping us there at least. And what I think we're looking at in the future of media is a kind of distribution and communication of news that reaches people on a much deeper level. And that is where it's so important that Hermeticism and mysticism and a lot of these ancient schools of thought are best served to be shown to our children and each other. And hey, listen, I'm not an expert, okay? I refer to the experts. I have my list of go-tos and references and heroes and pioneers that I constantly have to check myself and learn more and dig deeper. I'm not any kind of authority or expert on it, but what I am is a visionary, and I have a lot of ideas. And so basically what I'm trying to say was that I was looking for this link, and as the universe would have it, it was brought to my attention early this morning of a wonderful piece of art that was created by a Suzanne Treister, or a Treister. I'm not sure how to pronounce it exactly. But Suzanne Treister is an artist, among other things. I believe she's also an author. She did publish a novel. She is a creator of a tarot deck known as Hexen 2.0. Now, this is really, really very interesting because she was a participant. She was amongst a large group of artists that were asked to participate in a 3-month residency program at CERN. Okay, for those of you that know what CERN is the European Organization for Nuclear Research. Okay, it is home to the largest hadron collider in the world. Okay, so what they do, they work in high energy particle physics. Okay, so this is some next level stuff. All right, this isn't high school biology. Okay, these scientists at CERN are researching the God particle. They are. I was about to use the word dabbling, but I don't want to say dabbling because I think that it's probably some of the things that they're doing are probably okay, and some of the things that they're doing are probably not. And of course, that decision is best left to the individual. But that's just my opinion: is that they're going probably teeter-tottering on the gray area and kind of leaning into the black area. But in any case, how interesting is it that CERN, which is the headquarters of science, the leading pioneering brains in the physics world, are all at this location, pouring in all they have into these studies, and they felt that it was an important enough idea to fund this 3-month annual residency. So this takes place every year at CERN, to recruit and find artists from around the world to work side by side with the scientists, with the physicists. To what ends? That's unclear in terms of what I've read about it. I'm not exactly sure that the literature available on it is entirely encompasses everything that they're actually trying to do. But in my mind, I believe what they're attempting to do is map out human consciousness by means of artistic expression. So let's not pretend to know all of the technologies and techniques that they have at their disposal at a facility like CERN. Okay, so we have to just stretch the imagination a little bit and understand that we don't know exactly how they go about this sort of thing or why. But this wonderful piece of art was created by the Suzanne Treister. She actually won the award given out. I believe it's called the Collide Award because the program itself is called the Collide International Program. It's an interesting name, Collide International. So she won the award for her creation of this tarot deck. And I'm actually going to acquire this tarot deck that she made because it is the most fascinating thing that I have ever seen. And for me to say that is a big deal because I've seen a lot of really awesome stuff. But what she was able to do was what I believe she was able to do is channel the hive mind. She was able to align herself with with the stream of consciousness that tuned her into this veiled world, this reality that exists truly does exist. It is real. It just sort of runs on a level that most people are not attuned to. So, what she was able to do as an artist, and I think a lot of artists do this, whether they realize they're doing it or not, is they're channeling. They're channeling, their higher self. They could be channeling something external, that it really depends. But she was able to create this deck that it's based on post World War II like programming and all the things that took place after World War II. Actually have it written down because I didn't want to mess up what her vision was, but it was so she created it as a historical profile compiled in a deck of tarot cards of post-World War II federal scientific research programs of mass control and the counterculture of grassroots resistance. So it had a really psychedelic feel to it because of the time period that it was supposed to reflect. And it was at a time when the military industrial complex, along with the government, many factions of the government were experimenting with LSD and the effects that LSD had on individuals and on the mass population. And so since winning the award, she has actually become commissioned to CERN to create artwork related to the quote unquote holographic universe. So I think what essentially happened here was that her talent was recognized by these physicists and that she is a reliable conduit of energy, of psychic energy, because her art in the cards, she was able to translate the symbolic and astrological meanings of each card and translate that into some kind of control structure that exists on this planet in this realm. And it's just fascinating because she utilizes many different characters throughout history, such as Nikola Tesla, Jim Channon. And so it was fascinating. And it really occurred to me that it is possible to utilize, not only is it possible, but it's what's necessary now to utilize some of these more oppressed studies in how we communicate information. Because for me, as a tarot reader, one of my challenges is to try to translate such an ancient study, such as tarot, into modern day life. So, back when tarot was studied and utilized for the many purposes that it has, it's not just about divination. Divination is just one use of the tarot, but it is ultimately and essentially about mirroring what's going on, in the world, in the soul, the micro and the macro. And so something I struggle with and strive to get better at is how to translate these very ancient symbols and meanings into something that is applicable to everyday life, to our more practical needs and desires, and just the way that life is today is very different from the way that it was. I haven't looked at the chat. I don't really know what's going on here. Is something going on? I guess I should consider getting a moderator or two. That's okay. Well, I really don't care. I'm not even paying attention to the comments. So if somebody's being mean, I really don't mind. That's okay. I expect it. But thank you guys for sticking up for me, Ravenwolf. Thanks, guys. Z Golden Report. All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to make anybody a moderator. I wish somebody... I should really take like a tutorial or something to figure out how to do this better. Oh, thank you, guys. All right. Click the 3 dots on the right. participants. Oh, I see. Oh, so now I can just click on. Okay, so there's a mod right there. I want this person to moderate. I probably have to do it afterwards, don't I? Okay, well, whatever. So back to what I was saying. Another interesting point that I wanted to make about this Suzanne Treister, the winner of the Collide International program at CERN, was that in 1995, she created an alter ego named Rosalind Brodsky, who was a time-traveling researcher. So I find that fascinating because clearly what we're looking at is that this organization, CERN, okay, they have taken a blatant interest in where physics meets arts. And so I think that this is kind of one of the early steps in introducing some of these concepts into mainstream science or mainstream academia. I mean, the cult of science is kind of on its way out. I mean, it really is very cult-like. It's almost like it's become its very own religion. And I really don't think that it serves any purposes anymore other than to limit us because our science is limited. And so what I think that they're trying to do here, whether or not it's a positive thing or a negative thing, remains to be seen. And I think a lot of that is up in the air anyways, and we can't know that yet because nothing is actually written in stone. Which perhaps, they've taken an interest in the study of time travel, which is why they have placed, they've placed this woman, Suzanne Treister, in a position of being able to artistically translate some of these concepts, and her having created an alter ego who is a time traveling researcher, just to me reflects their interest in it. And that so many people would say that sounds crazy. Oh, she's crazy. Well, she's obviously not crazy because she is now renowned at probably the most intense and advanced scientific center of research known to man. So we are definitely on the brink of a huge shift, not only in consciousness, because the shift in consciousness is working in tandem with with new media and new information. I've covered a lot of the Pedogate / Pizzagate. It was called Pizzagate originally, and morphed into Pedogate as time went on. And that was my biggest focus for a while. And I realized shortly thereafter how Pedogate and the globalist Luciferian pedophiles, how connected they were to so many of the control structures that we recognize, that we would recognize daily, their household names, Planned Parenthood, CNN, all of the privately owned media companies. There are all these, they have all their hands in Hollywood and in a lot of the sports teams. I mean, look at the scandal that took place in, U.S. gymnastics with Dr. Nasser being charged with all these counts of child abuse and molestation and rape. So, this Pedogate scandal, as it was revealed through various channels such as WikiLeaks, not Wikipedia, WikiLeaks, and the various sort of connections and links that were discovered thereafter. This sort of thing is changing the face of this earth. I mean, I still believe that a lot of what is going on in terms of false flags and all these tragedies taking place and these events that tie up the interwebs for weeks and weeks, I think all of it, for the most part, all of it is contrived in order to take away from the very real progress that is taking place behind the scenes, that which they don't want us to see. They're very pleased that we are all at each other's throats about gun control. I even think that, at the very top of this is that they realize that they'll never actually be able to take our guns, that they'll never actually be able to disarm the American population because we are the most heavily armed population on the face of this planet. We probably have more weapons amongst the civilian population than some small countries' armies do. So they know that it's not even a matter of guns. This is just another cause to throw money at and to get people angry about, and for people to be able to talk about something when really the conversations to be had have a lot more to do with the actual the studies. The way that these people actually operate is they are occultists. Okay, they are black magicians, and they don't want us to know that. And even media, as it is, or as it has been, is a form of black magic. I mean, somebody posted recently, and I believe it went viral, a clip of sort of a montage of all of these different local media outlets from various cities across the US, and they all rattled off the same scripted lines. And of course, it was about battling false news and the threat that false news was to our democracy. And so it was just really sort of illustrated for us how blatantly scripted their whole agenda is, and how, these talking heads that we see on TV that people trust and their household names, and we can relate to them. They're so cool. Oh, they have personalities. They're just like us. It's really all been programmed and planned to look that way. So I really look forward to a time when the occult, which again gets this bad reputation for being all about, black magic and hexes and spells and stuff like that. Magic is neither black nor white. Not, at least not in its own essence. It just is, and it really depends on that who wields that kind of power. We have white magic, which is for the benefit of all of humanity. We have black magic, which is to serve the self. And then we have gray magic, where, and that's something that I think that's a really interesting discussion to open up one of these days, because we are kind of in such a gray area right now in history, where I think if people were able to properly arm themselves with the knowledge that we could really change things very quickly, if people were equipped and had the confidence and the support to be able to utilize real energy work and apply it in both media and in our communities, and just sort of have this ripple effect. Okay. Because for me, it's not all about reporting, the news, reporting the latest QAnon, or, reporting on the latest event that happens. I mean, all of that is very important, but I'm not, there are so many people that are so good at that. They're so good at, giving you a rundown of what's going on, and, up to date, up to minute with everything. And all of that is so important. It's so necessary. But there's also this whole layer of consciousness that could be layered to the story, where we, the people now, we should be able to see what's actually taking place behind the actions, behind the details of the situation. There lie all of these points of significance. And to somebody that doesn't have any occult knowledge whatsoever, they're just details. But to somebody that knows what they're looking for, we can start to make sense of what's going on here if we look closer at the dates, if we look closer at the numbers that are utilized, the locations that are utilized, the language that they use, the characters, the central characters that they utilize for these various roles. Because essentially what's going on right now in media is that it's one big stage, and we've got crisis actors left and right, and it's just one big circus. But for those of us that utilize some of these more ancient trains of thought, and we're looking at, there are people looking at the gematria of certain events, and people looking at the astrology behind other events. All of these things combined make for a completely new world of media. And I'm really excited about it. And people are doing an amazing job. I'm so blown away by the resources that are available to us now and the work that people have done. But just to provide an example of what I think is perhaps an upcoming contrived event of sorts. I mean, listen, there was a shooting at YouTube headquarters just the other day. So, we're looking at it happening in real time. This is they're not going to stop this anytime soon. And yes, I think that there's probably something to it. I don't think that the shooter was, just decided one day that she was going to do this. I don't think that anything that happens right now is by accident or by coincidence. Okay, we really need to start looking at this reality for exactly what it is. And there are so many unseen forces at work here. Of course, things happen, accidents do happen, but when it's as so much is fragile right now, because there is this war taking place behind the scenes, that we just need to be very vigilant and pay close attention to everything that the media is putting out. We have to have these eyes of discernment and realize that everything that they choose to pump, everything that they choose to broadcast over and over again. Take a look at how they're spinning it. Take a look at the language that they use. Take a look at the people that they interview. All of this needs to be taken into consideration. So somebody else sent me something about a white nationalist rally that is going to take place in the city of Noonan. Let me see here. Of Michigan, I believe it's Michigan. So here's the thing, is that we know that the Charlottesville rally, the white nationalist rally, took place a couple of months ago. Whether or not that was an organically, organized event, you can research that for yourself. But what we do know is that there are agitators and roles and actors that are taken into consideration. There are people that are hired to incite violence. There are people sort of waiting on the sidelines, ready with cameras, lights, camera, action, to bring you the next, crazy thing that happened, to paint a picture of an enemy, whatever enemy. It doesn't matter at this point. I mean, the shooter at YouTube, I think, what's coming out now is that she was like a vegan. Like, it's just, somebody you wouldn't expect to do this. So it really doesn't even matter. They're just trying to confuse people on a mass level at this point. But I wanted to bring up this article about the this white nationalist rally that is actually set to take place on April 21st. And what's interesting about it is that in this article from the Noonan Times Herald, this article was published today. This particular group called the National Socialist Movement, which they have been labeled as a hate group. They've been classified as a hate group. They call themselves a white civil rights organization. They actually deposited a $50 rental agreement with the city of Noonan, okay, on March 15th. So here's kind of where I'm going with this, is that March 15th is actually an observable satanic holiday. So that's kind of the first thing that jumps out to me. Okay, so we know that in any kind of ritual, all right, there is some kind of symbolic transfer of energy that takes place. It could be monetary, it could be sexual energy, it could be something that represents a deal or a contract of some kind. So even though it was only $50, this is, ritualistically and symbolically speaking, part of this. This would mark the start of the ritual. Okay, so, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because one of the latest um, bits of information released by Q does actually reference April 21st. I'm sorry, April 19th. And I believe Q mentioned the first battles ever fought, Lexington and Concord, the first American battles for our freedom in the Revolutionary War took place on April 19th. Now, this huge National Socialist movement rally is poised to take place on April 21st. Now, at the same time as this rally is scheduled to take place, there are all of these simultaneous events that are going to be happening also. We have the Champion for Children Superhero 5K, along with the Great American Cleanup at City Hall. And the University of West Georgia is hosting a family fun day at the Noonan campus. So parallel to all of these, what seem like very family-friendly organizations and events, we have this white nationalist rally taking place right on April 21st, which is just a few days after the 19th, which is the date that Q is saying something is going to happen. I think when Q says that something is going to happen, they usually mean something behind the scenes, something we're not going to hear about. But it could be that we don't hear about these events because liberal media, things like CNN, that have their hand in the creation of these events, these false flags, they tie up the internet, they tie up the waves with stories of their contrived events, with their shootings. So if something, God forbid, were to happen at this April 21st white nationalist rally, I think that would be a way for them to cover up what is actually taking place behind the scenes that Q is referring to on April 19th. So again, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I certainly hope nothing does happen. But I would be lying also if I said that I wasn't more than ready to see everything exposed, even if that meant that people were going to have a really, really hard time with it. I don't empathize. I really don't empathize with people that are not willing to take their blinders off and take a real honest look at what's been going on. And as somebody that has put so much emphasis on the exposure of the globalist Luciferian pedophile groups, I've been looked at as crazy and negative and all of these things because that's what I think the world needs, is to see what goes on behind these control structures and how everything from our food to the air that we breathe to everything that we watch, everything that we're consuming is all controlled by a very connected, powerful group of Black magicians. And so this live feed will probably get me in trouble, and I really don't care because, like I said, I'm not overly attached to this platform in particular. YouTube, I really don't care about you guys. I think you're run by probably, I would venture to say that there's probably many Luciferian globalist pedophiles that work at YouTube, that work for YouTube, and do some really evil bidding. So I really don't care about YouTube. Forget you guys. Really, I wanted to do this feed because I wanted to connect with my subscribers and ask you guys to, eventually, if you would be so kind as to follow me over on other platforms. I'm looking to get Steemit up and going and produce content over there. I love to do my tarot readings, so you guys can expect to, hear me do a lot more on the tarot. Very interactive. I'd like to do live readings here for people in the future. I'd also like to host as many guests as I can get my hands on because I'm really, really, I get really sick of hearing myself talk. It's really annoying. Um, so, and I love picking people's brains on various, things that are happening in the world and their particular skill sets and their realms of study. So that's really what my passion is to fuse all of these different realms of thought and kind of help to contribute and to facilitate the birth of new media. And so where consciousness can be at the forefront of how we articulate news, how we articulate what's going on in the world from a standpoint of, from an understanding place, where this occult mysticism, hermeticism, even alchemy, where these things are not secret anymore. They don't have to be blanketed or veiled or, all that mysterious and taboo. I mean, up until not that long ago, it was punishable by death for a woman to read the sacred texts. So, you want to talk about feminism. I don't subscribe to the concept of feminism as it stands in pop culture. I think that it's a psychological operation geared towards, at the very least, division between the sexes, division and a power struggle between men and women. We're not the same. We're not created the same. We have our strengths and our weaknesses, and we balance each other out. That's very much a part of human nature. It's an alchemical marriage. It's an alchemical connection that we have to each other. So my idea of feminism as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, as a friend, and as an experiencer, I'm not perfect. My idea is to take full advantage of the fact that we now have open gates, open doors. We can get our hands on texts now that, those that came before me were burned at the stake for even showing an interest in such things. So I'm extremely grateful to be alive right now. I'm extremely grateful to be a part of this shift and to bear witness to what I think can only be described as a universal catapult into, this huge quantum leap in consciousness. And I think that the entire universe is watching right now. I can feel it. I don't know about you guys, but I can feel it. So I guess with all of that, I could probably end this now. I have a million more things I'd like to ramble on about. You guys, anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge rambler. I don't know how to edit videos. I don't know how to do a lot of things technical, which is why I just decided to go live because this is a format that I'm comfortable with. But if anybody wants to help me, I don't know, show me the right direction to kind of learn how to get a little bit more comfortable with like the editing process or anything like that, I'd be totally grateful. All right, you guys. So I guess I'm going to end it. I really appreciate all of you guys in the chat for showing up and showing your support. I hope to do this again real soon. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Bye.